Today, we're going to be showcasing how Gemini, the AI-powered assistant for Google Workspace, can revolutionize your daily workflows, streamline collaboration, and enhance productivity. Before we dive in, today we're going to be focusing on finance teams. So while we're going to show foundational functionality and features, I will also be showing examples specifically to how Gemini for Workspace can be really helpful to finance team members. Before we start as well, I want to give you a few tips of when you're using Gemini or really any generative AI technology. When you're prompting, try to be as specific as you can. We want to make sure that the Gemini understands what you're looking to do, what the task is, what format you want it in, and give it directions as to how to narrow in the results. So be specific. Reference relevant tools. So if you're in a certain service like Gmail, as we're seeing on the screen, you can say, let's write an email, or let's analyze the last 5 emails from the past 5 days, right? Something like that. And then iterate, refine those prompts based on the responses to have that conversation, to go back and forth between the two. Okay, so starting in Gmail, when you first log into Gemini, you'll notice that everything pretty much looks the same until you start clicking around. So if I go into Compose, you'll see that I have a little icon in the bottom of my screen that I can click, and now I can interact with Gemini. For drafting emails, it's really a great, quick way to do these types of things. So if I say, draft a polite reminder email to clients with outstanding invoices, including payment details and due dates. I click create, Gemini goes to work, and within a few seconds, it gives me a very nice, concise draft. Gives it a friendly reminder, right? It's not necessarily being direct or blunt about these things. So you can adjust the tone there too if you want while you're writing your prompt. You'll notice at the bottom too that you can refine these responses by formalizing it, elaborate, or shorten. So with this type of prompt, if I use elaborate, I'm not sure if it's going to expand because it's really just a reminder for folks to do that. Not much there, but if you were a bit more specific with your prompts, you can see that you have those options to do that. So not only for drafting emails is Gemini helpful, when we're working in the side panel, and to get to the side panel, you click this icon up in the upper right-hand corner. The side panel pops out, and now this is where you can actually have a conversation with Gemini. So for instance, if I was on vacation and I just came back and I just want to give a catch up or summary of what I missed in the past 5 days, I can say summarize the emails I received in the past 5 days. So this is a demo account, so it's more about alerts and things like that. You'll see some other, marketing emails that come in here too. But within a few moments here, Gemini will review all of my emails from the past 5 days and give me a little insight into what I might need to focus on after getting back from vacation. I can also use Gemini to refine the view that I'm in. I can say, show all the emails from Cloud M that have an attachment. So this is truly helpful, especially for finance team members. If you have to look for receipts that are, that it's from a specific vendor or a person or something like that, and then you can look and you see that Gemini reorganized my inbox rather to my instructions, and I can also refine that as well in saying, I just need it from the past, 2 days, or even say a specific month or something like that to be more targeted to what view shows up here. Getting into the user interface as well, you can copy this information, right? So I could even put this in a doc. If I have my side panel, I can put it in a note, something like that, to take a little keep note and put that in there. So I can say that for later. So a lot of little things that you can do with those copy moments there. You can also say retry and also give it feedback. We always recommend to give a little bit of feedback, positive or not so positive, to let Gemini know that it's doing what it's being asked to do, as well as letting Google know what the experience is there. All right, again, with Gmail, it's really quick, really easy to get information. Well, I should mention here too that if I were to say summarize this document and I do the @, it'll pull up the most recently accessed documents that I can now leverage in this side panel too. So if I need to get a summary of this last document, which was a transcript from a meeting I was just on maybe a week or so ago, I can use Gemini in the side panel to summarize that data. And this is for any file that's stored in Drive. So it's not just Google native files, doc sheets and slides. So if you have Excel's sheets or PowerPoint decks, those types of things, as long as it's stored in Drive, Gemini can access and analyze it as well, PDFs as well. So it gives me a nice summary. I can say copy that, put it in an email, and edit it to my my need for that conversation. Okay. So Gmail's super helpful for those quick hits, and there are a couple of other areas that I want to highlight here for this demonstration. So Gemini.google.com is the Gemini chatbot or AI chatbot that you can leverage as a standalone chatbot. Right? This is really helpful in analyzing a lot of different things. You can even upload images here if I wanted to. Right, so if you have like handwritten notes, those types of things, more features to come there too for analyzing documents and those things, those types of things. But this is also very helpful from analyzing external websites or even organizations. So I could say something like, give me a financial if I can type, oh my gosh, financial summary of the company Google for the year 2024. So they're a publicly traded company. So this is coming straight from, you know, publicly available data. So, you know, so hopefully this is kind of starting to give ideas of if you're needing to research a different company, even your own. This could be helpful to see what's happening with those particular companies, right? So not only can I get that kind of data, but I can then export this to an email or to a doc to then use and collaborate with my fellow colleagues, business leaders, etc. So if I go to Open Docs now, it'll bring it up. But before I go there, I want to show you a few more things before we move on. It does have a saved history here in the sidebar, so it does remember your chats. You can pin and rename these, so that's really great if you want to reuse a prompt or have a similar conversation. In the settings here, let me actually do this real quick. In the settings here, you can set your dark theme or use different extensions which connect to other data sources, and those data sources continue to grow. Getting back to the conversation is really simple. You can use your voice, so it's multimodal in that sense. You can use text or your voice to communicate with Gemini. And then finally, of course, those feedback areas, or even modify that response with shorter, simpler, more casual, more professional. So now that I have this document created from Gemini, I can start analyzing or using this to collaborate and use Gemini as well. A few user interface features here. So you'll notice that this Help Me Write button is there. So if I wanted to say, you know, down here, I can prompt within the document itself. So I could say either create a table from the data in this document. So not only will it analyze the data, it'll use the tools inside of Google Docs, such as tables or anything else that is included in Docs to help with those, the output of here. You'll also notice it's using chips or the drop downs here. So it's helping you create these tables as well as the baked in functionality of Google Docs. I can insert that. I can then of course edit and add columns here. Look at the table if I need to add or options. Really helpful in that way too. So when you're also having existing documents come in, you can use this proofread option to where it's not just spell checking, it's checking for, flow, grammar, those types of things within the document. So this is not only helpful for creating new documents, but also old documents. And similarly to Gmail, the side panel follows you here. And if it's an existing document, there will automatically be a summary at the top of the document highlighting that. In the side panel too, you can look, Google Gemini gives you a few recommendations of what to do there as far as recommendations or suggestions. And this goes throughout every service too, right? So you can do that, create an outline, blog, etc. And similar to Gmail, you can have that conversation here as well. So in Drive, this is where I think there's going to be some eyebrows raised, perhaps, as far as how we can leverage data that's stored in Drive to either get a better idea of what's happening, those types of things within Drive itself. So say you have multiple yearly budgets that you're wanting to compare. You can, similarly to this is more of I guess an admin report from emails, but if I were to select all three of these and I click the Gemini icon up here, it's going to analyze all three of those spreadsheets, and I'll show you what these look like while it's doing that. So they're not necessarily small either, as these pull up, right? So there's a pretty good amount of data, and this is the 3 of 5, this is 2 of 5, and there's many rows here, right? We're talking, thousands, multiple thousands. So we're over 100,000 rows in this one, similarly in the other ones. And within a few seconds, it analyzes it, gives me some great reporting here. So while it's important to understand here too that I'm having a conversation, so I can go back and forth with Gemini to refine the output, or say like I need to just compare 2 and 5 or 2 and 4 or something of that nature. So you can also use the data that you have access to even just have a conversation. So if I have if I've been working with a customer for a while, I can reference their name because Google will analyze the data that I have access to. It's not learning from the data that's stored. It's very important to understand. It's very quickly analyzing the data that I have access to. So really great stuff. From that, I can also say, find me all the documents pertaining to purchasing tracking. And now it's searching my Drive, and there's quite a few that come up. So you have access to that. You can say, show more if I need to, or retry with Google Search, which would use this as we're used to. But not only is Gemini a great assistant for getting information, but it's also really good at finding things for you. So that can be really helpful there. Okay, so being on the finance team, we probably work a lot in spreadsheets, right? So there's a lot of things that are coming from an analytical standpoint, but what Google Sheets is really strong at right now is creating table as well as teaching you how to use formulas, right? So in the case of a finance team member, let's build a table to compare different investment options with columns for investment name, expected return, risk level, and investment horizon. So while that's doing that, you can also, bounce back and forth between other services and use Gemini as well, just highlighting that you don't necessarily need to stick in the same service as it's connected across the platform. So here we have an investment name, bonds, etc., expected return, risk level, investment horizon. So I can insert that, right, and put that into a table. Now I can also say insert, let's say create a table from, and I'll do @ and I can use those other spreadsheets too. This my spreadsheet, I'll show you here in a second, is an Excel sheet. It goes back here, and let me see if I can find it. Yep, here we go. I think it's 43. I'll double check that. Yep, 43. And it is this particular document, which does a rundown of clients, project type, amount billed, those types of things. These are all example companies, by the way. So if I go over here, and it's analyzing data from a specific spreadsheet. So now I can close this in here, insert it as a new sheet, and now starting to collaborate with Gemini, speeding things up. I mean, I certainly can create a table. I think we're all, being on the finance team, we can create tables very quickly, but this will make it for you, save you tens of 20s of minutes too, depending on what the tables that you're wanting to build. So in a friendly reminder here, I didn't show this, that you can say clear history if you want to, so you can reset that conversation, give more suggestions and feedback. All right, let me do this real quick and name this. I'll call it client report, because now that I have a report, maybe it's again comparing budgets for the past couple of years, those types of things. Now I need to, from my research, I need to present this to the organization or to leadership. So if I go into Google Slides, actually I'm going to do this, create a new one. And similar, again, follows you around. That side panel pops over here. Now what Slides here is really good at right now is image generation and creating slides one by one. I mentioned before, there's a lot of things on the roadmap which are coming out very soon, so keep an eye out, as Google's putting a lot of effort to iterate on their product seemingly on a daily basis. So but image generation as well as slide creation one by one. So let's do that though. Let's say create a slide from this file, and I'm going to go to that client report that I just created. So it's going to analyze the content that's in that, or the data that's in that spreadsheet, and it sometimes makes a picture for me, sometimes it doesn't, but I'll show you how to make a picture too here in a minute. All right, fun. We got a gold piggy bank with some coins. It says investment options review, so it talks about, let's look at the data that we talked about before. So it was the expected return, investment horizon, etc. So low risk returns, bonds, etc. So you can imagine how this may be really helpful for you if you were using company that or data that's related to your organization too. So, but say I didn't like this picture, but I like the data that's in there. So I'm going to say delete that image, and there's this image create icon here in the upper right. I click on that, and I could say I didn't like the gold piggy bank. Maybe I want a green piggy bank. So a green piggy bank with blue, green, and white coins in front of it. So let's just say a green piggy bank. Oh, I know why. So I'm going to say photography. So there's styles that you can select here. I quickly selected photography, but you have photography, a background, which actually gives the format of the background of the slide itself. So that was my mistakes. Apologies on that, but you want to be sure you select that style of photography, background, vector art, sketch, watercolor, cyberpunk, or I'm feeling lucky. Let's see what a cyberpunk green piggy bank looks like here. You can see that while that does that, we can look at these options as well. Ceramic. Oh, that's the cyberpunk version. You can see that came up pretty quick. So pretty fun, but again, creative and fun in the minds of, not having to look to Google or stock images or anything like that. You can just have your own image generation here right within Google Slides. All right. So finally, the last thing that I want to mention here is Google Meet, right? So Google Meet also is very helpful in the sense of helping you connect with other people. There's something called live translations that is available in Gemini. In your settings, if you went to captions, you can have live translated captions to your familiar language. There's quite a few in beta right now. It's open beta, but say, you know, the source language is English, and translated captions have been turned on to German, and I'm in Germany and I don't really understand or am familiar with English. I will get translated captions right within Google Meet. Additionally, there's Take Notes for Me. So this is a really wonderful feature where if you enable this, a document will be created and Take Notes for Me hops into action. And say you are late to the meeting and the Take Notes for Me is on, a summary will show up once you hover over this, as well as everything's going to be logged as bullet points and even maybe some action items, suggested action items from the meeting. And then you can share that after the meeting as well. And finally, helping you look and sound better. So if we're going into apply visual effects, we can see that we can generate our own backgrounds here, right? So similar in slides, you want to put in a prompt, and there's a couple different styles that you can select from here. And then under appearance, you have studio lighting. If you have a decent computer, some of this happens locally, where you have basically virtual key lights, if you're familiar with lights that kind of shine on you for podcasting and stuff like that. So these are key lights that you can select the color temperature as well as the intensity. There's a few other options here for studio look as well as portrait touch-up. More features that come there as well. All right. Well, thank you for spending the time. I know it's been about 20 minutes, so hopefully this is helpful in understanding how it might help you as a finance team member be more productive, have a really powerful assistant researching as well as providing you analysis of content that you have access to. Again, thank you so much for watching today, and I hope you have a great day. Take care.